Welcome back. I'm Evan Forster, founder of Forster-Thomas Educational and Career Consulting here in New York City. I'm also the co-author of the MBA Reality Check, and today I brought our coaches back to tell you more about the essays that they loved last year.
One of my favorite essays from this season was something that came from a random sentence in the workbook that my client probably never thought I would even read, let alone, make him tailor one of his most important essays around. And it was that when he was a kid moving to a new town, his first day of school, he saw people playing football and he ran out there despite the fact that he was not in pads or a uniform, but in sandals and a little t-shirt, and immediately jumped onto the field, started playing sports, and made tons of new friends. And this is a guy who's constantly in a business suit and really, really serious, and I made him write an entire essay about getting back to that little kid, and it was amazing.
I can honestly tell you that the best essay is like the best writing of any kind, comes from a truly honest and vulnerable place. And this point was really perfectly illustrated in the writing of a recent client, a trader named John in private equity, who wrote about coming out to his family and friends and coworkers.
My favorite essay response this year came out of one of my least favorite questions, Wharton's question about what class would you create at Wharton. I had a candidate who took that question and really ran with it. And he created, out of all of the various things that he'd done in his life, leadership opportunities and leadership potential. And he talked about how you can learn leadership from everyday things that you wouldn't normally think about. And I thought that that was a great lesson to pass on to other students at Wharton, and I thought it was a great thing to put into his application.
My favorite essay response this year came from a guy who comes from a very wealthy and powerful family. They're from another country, their names are household there, and his grandfather, his father, his aunts and uncles, everybody was known for something very well. And he grew up in the shadow of this family, and a lot of the things that had informed what makes him who he is now came from topics that weren't really polite conversation, for example, wealth, privilege, and power. And he managed to write an essay where he was able to identify these without being either cocky or defensive. He was not apologetic, but he wasn't boastful. It was a masterful piece of storytelling, and I will remember him always.
My favorite essay response came from Kyle. He had worked in a congressman's office with Haitian constituents right after the earthquake there, and he was able to show how a small role in that office really actually required a lot of leadership traits. And even more than that, it was clear just how much that had meant to him getting to work with those constituents of his in such a difficult time. It was a great way for him to show the admissions committee what a strong candidate he was.
My favorite essay response was from this woman who talked about how she has never cut her hair. What made this essay so interesting was that it was so idiosyncratic, and those are the type of essays that people really respond to.
So I want to thank all the coaches for sharing with you their favorite moments of last year, their favorite essays, their favorite subjects. And I'm not going to talk to you about mine because there are so many over the years that I have loved, so many incredible stories. But I will tell you this, the way to write incredible essays is to dig down deep and, above all, tell the truth.